Okay, so thank you guys so much for hopping on. I apologize, I'm a hot mess. I just finished working out and I'm in my garage, so my lighting is terrible out here. But we have Emmy and Lauren on with us, and they are going to both talk to us about kind of their takeaways from the New Leader Conference and what that is, and kind of what they did to get there. But just kind of their biggest takeaways, and then any kind of tips they have for you. I know that Rachel, who's on this call, raise your hand, Rachel. Yeah, and Heather both told me that their big goal is to go to New Leader Conference and be an elite team. So they are both pushing a lot. That's their goal. And then, so I knew that they were really looking forward to any kind of tips and takeaways that you had. But really just, also I love the fact that there's so many different stories of people, how they get to New Leader Conference. Like take Bonnie Engel, for example. I want to tell you all of this listening to this or listening to the recording. Bonnie Engel, who we know has been a top 10 coach multiple years in a row. So she grew her business very fast and was at New Leader Conference as a new 2-star diamond, and then the next year she was there as a top 10 coach presenting. So I just want you guys to really realize that it's not something so far out of your grasp. It's 100% an option for everybody. You just have to dig in and do the vital behaviors. But I wanted to kind of briefly talk a little bit about Lauren and Emmy. So Lauren is a lifetime Star Diamond SEL Star legend, which is 24 months in a row hitting Success Club. She's been a coach for 2.5 years. She's a formal animal trainer, current aerial instructor, which she just said. And then Emmy has been a coach for close to 3 years. She's a lifetime 2-star diamond, Success Club All-Star legend, and team leader on the leadership ladder. So she started coaching while she was getting her master's degree from Florida State, and she recently traveled cross-country solo in an RV while working her biz across the road, which is a really fun fact. So it's really cool to kind of see a little bit about what people are, to kind of get to know them, so that you're not just who is this person blabbing to you. They are Carolyn Marone's coach, Carolyn is a coach under Kelly. Kelly is my coach, so we're kind of like, we both have the same sponsor. So they are growing leaders. They're awesome. I can't wait to hear what they have to say. Go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us and for that intro. Lauren, did you want me to share my screen with the slides?
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Okay. All right. Let me know if you guys can see this. All right. Cool. You guys can see?
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. All right. Lauren, do you want to start or should I?
I can start a little bit.
Okay.
If you have anything to add into this intro, just jump in.
Cool.
So yeah, Emmy and I got to go to the New Leader Conference recently, and it was a really incredible experience. And it was, honestly, I heard that it was going to be really incredible, but I don't think that I could really could have anticipated how amazing it actually was. But essentially, the non-business side of things, we got spoiled for a weekend. We got free hotel rooms. We were fed really, really good food, beautiful catering. We were just walking around with Carl Deichler and everyone from corporate, and Michael Neiman came up to us at one point and we were brain dead, and we just stared at his face. But everyone from corporate was sitting with us eating, just chit-chatting. It was super fun. They did a game night. So it was a really awesome experience. And what was really cool about it was it was pretty small. There were, I think, maybe 500 coaches there, which I guess is one of the bigger ones that they've had. So it felt like a pretty intimate setting where we really did get to talk to everyone and have a lot of one-on-one time with people. But there was just so much energy there, and it's a really cool experience being at these live events where there's just all this energy and so much passion, and it's just so inspiring. Like April was saying about Bonnie, the same thing was true with Kim this year. Like she sat in, you know, that seat last year, and this year she was presenting multiple times, and it was just such a cool experience to like have a super focused, like all the topics were super focused, and it was very much like exactly where we are and what we need. So I definitely, like, if you are pushing for it, like keep pushing for it, because it was like the coolest experience to be there. And to get there, I hit 1-star diamond. We both qualified when, Emmy, like in the summer.
I should know this.
I think it was in the summer, because when we went on our retreat.
That's right. It was right before the retreat, which was October. Yeah. So it was like fall.
Okay.
September, maybe.
So I hit 1-star diamond. So one of my personally sponsored coaches, she rank advanced to diamond. Emmy hit 2-star diamond to get there. And to be honest, like, not that it's easy to do that, but it's definitely not impossible.
Yeah, because like Christy,
yeah,
we had a third teammate there.
Yeah, go ahead. You could talk about it.
Oh, I was just gonna say we had a third teammate on our team there, and she was diamond. What was it, like? Whatever the cutoff date was to qualify for NLC, she made it by like a day, and she literally built her husband's business to diamond in order to hit 1-star herself in a week. Like she decided, she was like, I'm not gonna miss this, and she, I don't think slept for a week, but just went ham for 1 week. Built him to diamond and qualified and was there with us as well.
Yeah, held that for 6 weeks. Yeah. So definitely, like, it is so possible. I definitely recommend not waiting till the last second like that, because that's stressful, but it is possible. Like, she did it in a week. It's totally like within reach. So we learned so many things when we were there. So we talked about it, and we just kind of wanted to focus in on the more like actionable items, and things that we already have started to implement in the last couple weeks, and we're already feeling a shift in our businesses and our team just from implementing these things. So we've kind of already been testing them out, and we're just going to share that with you guys. So most of this is going to come from Melanie Mitro and Bonnie, but first I'll talk about Melanie. Is the bottom of that cut off? Oh, no, it's not. Okay.
Okay.
So Melanie talked a lot about having a life-work balance, and this is something that's super important. Otherwise, you end up with that like work hangover where you're like laying in bed and you're thinking about work, and then you're waking up the next day and you're stressed about like your work activities. So she really, really focused in on scheduling, which is like seems so simple and seems like you know, whatever, doing it is like nothing, but like it makes a huge difference. So she pulls out a Google Calendar, and I'll show you mine after this just so you can get like a visual, but she pulls out a Google Calendar and she puts everything for her whole week into that. So every single Sunday is when she does it. I like to do it on Sundays as well. Just so you can plan your entire week, you know, any like appointments you have, you know, any social events you have, anything like that. So it all goes into the calendar, every single thing. But you need to schedule your work hours. So that was like the big thing she kept really addressing, because if you don't schedule it, you're going to cut yourself short. And you need to schedule time for your personal business, and then also separately schedule time for your team. And there should be an 80-20 balance in that. Like 80% of your time should be going towards your business, your conversations, your invites. And then the other 20% of the time should be your team. And I don't know how many of you guys like have teams of your own or where anybody is at with this, but it's really easy to get into that like management mode, especially as your team starts growing and suddenly you have more coaches that are coming to you with questions. But it doesn't really help them be resourceful by you constantly being there to answer every single one of their questions that could otherwise be Googled, or they could look in your team drive or YouTube it. So she recommends actually having specific times throughout your week that your team is allowed to contact you, unless it's, of course, like an emergency. So what Emmy and I have been doing with this is we've been blocking out our calendars and we've been screenshotting them and sending them to our team every Sunday and saying that, you know, whatever is in purple or whatever color it is when you can contact me, basically. But she also suggests like doing it in this order that I have up on the screen. So your personal time and your workouts should be the first thing that go on there, because if you're not focusing on you, I mean, we all know this already. I'm not going to like drill into it too much, but if you're not focusing on you, your business isn't going to go anywhere. So that's first. Then if you work another job, like your work schedule and your business, like for your personal business, has to go next. After that, team calls and team trainings. After that is your team time. So that's the time where you could be creating trainings for your team or doing one-on-one calls or mastermind calls with your team, whatever you need to do. But the other thing that she really, really stressed was having a time that you cut yourself off every day, that you are no longer allowed to be working your business. And she said that for the first 2 years she was a coach, her and her husband were fighting constantly because she was glued to her phone. Her kids saw her glued to her phone all the time, and eventually she had to put her phone in a lockbox to keep herself from doing that. Like, she still to this day puts it in a drawer. So scheduling that unplugged time is going to help you, because it's going to make you more efficient when you're actually working your business, because you know you only have a certain amount of time. But it's also going to let you have a life and a personal life, and that's important, because the lifestyle of this sort of job is why most of us are attracted to it to begin with. So if you want to have freedom and you're not giving yourself any freedom and you're punishing yourself by like, you know, being unproductive half the day and then like trying to do your work all night, that's not giving you the lifestyle that you started this to begin with. And then as far as like your day-to-day goes, just like prioritizing your to-do list. So I like to plan my goals on Sunday, and Melanie was saying she does this as well, but then she prioritizes her goals, and her top 3 priorities for the week she gets done on Monday, which is brilliant. But just like having your to-do list prioritized, making sure you are doing the things that are moving your business forward first, versus like creating really pretty graphics and like spending time on things that are just not as important. Yes, I love that hashtag. Eliminating your distractions. You know, if you don't have like a Facebook newsfeed killer, I recommend getting one for sure, so you don't get lost in there. Setting a timer. And then when it is your time to unplug, like unplug. I have my Google Calendar now synced to my phone, so I get a little alert every time, like 10 minutes before something is coming up, including 10 minutes before I have to shut down my computer. It tells me you have basically a 10-minute warning, and then you have to shut it down. And then really like turn it off. But then you need to be constantly like evaluating your progress, because you want to make sure that you are focusing on the tasks that are moving your business forward, especially if you do have big goals, like, and not just like wasting a bunch of time, like, you know, like making graphics, like I said, or like kind of planning team trainings when you haven't even had a single conversation yet that day. Really quick. Oh, Emmy, I forgot. I'm not in control of this. Can you click to the next slide? I like just tried to do it as if I had any sort of control. Thank you. So this is just like an example, but this is mine for next week. All those times in blue, those are like my personal time to work my business, to do my workout. And I separately schedule my like free work time, which is like if I want to work on graphics, if I need to work on a new training, if I need to work on like creating a new, I don't know, whatever it is, a new event page. And then all the times in purple are the times that are dedicated to the team. Our team calls, Emmy and I, every Wednesday night, we have like a wine and work night for our team, where even though most of us can't drink right now because we're doing 80-day obsession, but we drink like kombucha or like LaCroix. But this is what I send my team at the beginning of the week, and I let them know, unless it's an emergency, if you need to schedule a call with me, if you need me to answer a question and you've already checked all of your resources, like the times in purple are the times that they're basically allowed to reach out to me. And I know Emmy has a very similar schedule and does this very similarly. But doing that has really already streamlined, I know for me, so many things. And Emmy, I think, has had the same effect. You can go to the next slide. Sorry, I'm trying to just like zoom through this as quickly as possible. So the other thing was planning your months. And so Melanie says the way she starts this is by looking at the entire year. And the very first thing she does is she anticipates all of the obstacles that are going to come up. That means like all the holidays that people are going to have excuses for, all like the start of the school year, you know, all these things that we know, especially if you've been around for even just a year, you know, there are times of year when people are like more busy or don't have the money or whatever it is. So before she even starts planning her months, she looks at her entire year and she like goes and highlights every single thing that could be a possible roadblock. And then she takes an individual month and she plans out her month. So accounting for holidays, planning out your challenge group and actually setting a date. So not just saying like, oh, I'll have a challenge group when I have some people on board, like setting that date for your challenge group. For any groups you're doing with your coach, if it's like an emerald group, like to grow emeralds, or a diamond push group or whatever it is. And then all your business opportunity events like blitzes, webinars, everything else. The other thing she does is to create leverage for coaches to sign up is after she has like a blitz or a sneak peek, she schedules a like new coach like launch call for a few days after her coaching event, so that anybody who was in that event who was a prospect coach who is interested has that extra incentive to sign up quickly by having like a date where, oh, all the new coaches, this is like your intro, your launch, you know, you get all the information you need. So they want to be on that. So it gives them an extra incentive to jump in quicker. And then turning this plan, so looking at this and actually creating like a flow of like purposeful, meaningful action from this is really important. So you can go to the next slide, Emmy. Thank you. So I just literally like made this based exactly on what Melanie made. But the way this works is like creating your daily anchor post. So essentially, when you have like a challenge group starting, or if you have a Coach Blitz event starting, that's what you would write up in that little white box, whatever it is. And then you look back 7 or 8 days before that, and you want to have an anchor post every single one of those days that is driving people eventually to whatever it is, whether it's a Coach Blitz or your challenge group, whatever. You can click to the next one. I'm just giving you guys an example with like what I'm actually using right now, because I have a 90s challenge group starting. And so essentially I put the content for my anchor posts for each day leading up to my group. And then I actually made this the background of my computer. So the second I open my computer, I already know, like I have it in my mind what I need to be posting that day. If it's something I need to like make a video for or a photo or whatever. But it's essentially just to funnel people into your event and to like get people excited, get people, you know, it's to have like purposeful, meaningful content that is actually driving them towards something specific, rather than just like posting about coaching one day and then kind of posting about the fitness side one day and then like being like, oh, by the way, I have a challenge group going. Like it's all just driving them towards whatever specific thing. I did the same thing. We just, Emmy and our teams just did a Blitz recently, and we did the same thing, and we had our whole team do it leading up to the Blitz. So it was like coaching objections leading up to it, like coaching lifestyle posts, love, like team love type posts, all those sort of things that'll get people interested and excited about it. Emmy, I believe that's all I have for this part. Yep. You're up.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna check the chat.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Okay, yeah, we can share any of this. Because I will say definitely using those anchor posts has helped me. I've been doing that too, and I've also been doing the calendar. And I feel more on track in the last 2 weeks than I have all year. So it's really all the last year and a half. So it's definitely helpful.
Also, what's your piece to track your business really quick? I like to ask different people what works for them.
I think we both use Asana.
Okay.
Yeah, I still use pen and paper for some things. I think same with Lauren. But we keep the master list of everyone we're talking to on Asana.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to switch gears now and cover what Bonnie Engel talked about. So she presented twice, and she did definitely harp on the fact that, just 3 years before, she'd just been sitting in the audience, and now here she is talking and presenting. Both of her talks were about Instagram. So that's what I'm going to delve into. So just out of curiosity, how you guys can just raise your hand or whatever. How many of you guys are already heavily using Instagram to recruit coaches? Is that everybody? I'm going to the next page. At least half of us, maybe more than half. Okay. So some of it will be stuff but this actually has helped me a lot because I've been using Instagram very heavily for 2 years at least. And the little subtle changes I've made because of this, I'm literally about to sign up a girl from Instagram that I just started talking to 2 days ago using these techniques, so I can say it's working and it's turning my turnaround time, or it's making my turnaround time a lot faster, and it's actually kind of moving the needle where before I felt like I was just sort of struggling through. So she started off by saying that she really didn't want to talk about Instagram when they told her to present on Instagram. She was really hesitant because she was very comfortable with Facebook, which I know can be a lot of us. It's hard to kind of move to a new platform or try new things. And she was very hesitant, but then she kind of realized that literally the fake eyelashes she was wearing and the maternity t-shirt she was wearing and the decor in her house, she had bought all of it because she saw somebody on Instagram promoting it. And she realized Instagram was so heavily dictating her purchase choices. And she talked about this article, I think it was by Forbes, and they published that article, and we're talking about basically how 80% of Americans are now buying online and specifically are being influenced through a social media post or through a social media influencer. So what companies are doing now is literally targeting micro-influencers, which would be all of us. If you're on Instagram and you have between 200 and 10,000 followers.
If it went under, I would. I swear.
Oops, somebody's unmuted, I feel like. I don't know. Okay. So if you have between that range of followers, you're considered a micro-influencer, and that's really who has the power right now in influencing what people buy and what they do. It's really not the giant million follower accounts. It's really these smaller accounts, which is literally all of us if you're on there. So that's pretty cool to realize that love Instagram or hate it, that is what is driving people's purchase choices in 2018, hands down. So she had a talk on Instagram in general more, and then she had a very specific Instagram stories talk, which I'll get into in a second. But she said what she has done, and this is what I've implemented, is really reevaluated how she uses Instagram, whereas in the past, I think it was a lot we all kind of I know I felt this way where I felt like I should post certain things. I needed to post my shake and my workouts and the coaching lifestyle. And that was kind of the majority of my posts revolved around one of those things. What she really wanted us to do after this talk was think about what it is that we are attracted to on Instagram. So think about this for you, when you are scrolling Instagram, because honestly, we all do at least a little bit. What are you looking at? If you go to your little explore tab at the bottom with the magnifying glass, what things are catching your eye? So that's what she said she's been doing, is thinking about her habits. So are you a late night Instagram scroller? I know that's me. If I'm going to get on Instagram and scroll, it's going to be late at night. And I am vegan and I'm doing the Beachbody Classic, so I'm really interested in weightlifting right now. So I am primarily looking at hashtag vegan bodybuilders and stuff like that. So she says, really think about what it is that you are attracted to, because odds are if you're attracted to it and you're wanting to scroll through it and waste your time looking at it, then other people are going to want to do that with yours. And she's big on, instead of just posting all day just to post, really having maybe 1 or 2 power-packed messages that you get across in your post each day. So I'm sure we all know, if you know who Bonnie Engel is, that she's pregnant right now. So her big thing was, if you look at her Instagram, almost all of her posts revolve around pregnancy in some way right now. So her hashtags relate to that. her hashtags have changed every week. She hashtagged like 14 weeks pregnant and then 15 weeks pregnant. And so she said, really think about where you are in your life right now. So maybe you are a mom, maybe you're a grad student, maybe you're planning a wedding, you're going through a big move. Think about wherever you are in your life. And it used to be, I know that, and I was doing this till very recently, that I was just hashtagging the crap out of every single post with like the same block of 30 hashtags. And now the way it's moving, you guys may have heard, like that isn't working anymore. And your hashtags now should really reflect something relevant to you and not just random things. So all of her hashtags, for example, are now as a part of the caption, which they also should be, not as a comment anymore. And there's maybe 5 or 6, and they all have to do with something that she's actually talking about or posting about or going through. So I put this last point as kind of like a homework thing you guys can do, is just to make a list, and you can dump it in the chat now if you want to, or write it down for yourself, but really just make a list of what you enjoy looking at. And I know Lauren and I both talked about this after the fact, so this kind of bleeds over into the way you do your stories too, which I'm going to talk about separately, but think about what you enjoy. So if you're enjoying looking at certain hashtags or following those hashtags, or maybe you're always looking up beauty tips or decor tips, or I don't know, like I said, for me, I'm doing the Beachbody Classic, so I'm looking at a lot of like bikini competition posing videos and stuff like that. And I'm not saying you have to put out that kind of post, but do start thinking about what's attracting you, because obviously if that's attracting you, then it's also going to attract the people that you want to be talking to, if that makes sense. And outside of health and fitness, so not just working from home, hashtag entrepreneur, really branching out and thinking about what other things are interesting you. So this is her exact system, scripts, word for word and everything. I recorded her whole chat and I wrote it out. And this is exactly what I've been doing, and it is definitely working. I've gotten a lot more interest than I ever did my old method. So you might already be doing this, but the first thing she does is when she's looking to actually go invite people from Instagram, she searches a hashtag again that relates to her life. So her example is she'll type in hashtag 26 weeks pregnant. And then you know how Instagram will suggest other similar hashtags to you, like along the top? Because she said that's how she figures out her hashtags. So she'll look at another one that Instagram has suggested. So maybe hashtag maternity wear. So then she's scrolling through the pages of maternity wear photos, and she's going to pick somebody who sticks out to her. Something about them looks like somebody she'd want to grab coffee with, somebody she'd want to be a friend with. She says she looks for people with smaller followings who are likely not already a coach or with some network marketing company. And then she just spends a little bit of time, not long, just maybe likes 2 or 3 of their photos real quick, comments with something engaging. I like to leave a question. So just, you can ask a question like, oh my God, where did you get this? Or this looks amazing. Could you share the recipe? Something really quick. And I honestly have these comments saved as a keyboard shortcut on my phone. I'm not sure if you guys use that, but I have the thing that I frequently say is I'm always like, oh my God, this looks amazing. Do you have the recipe? So I've saved that. I can explain that after the fact if you guys want to know, but I have that saved as a keyboard shortcut. So I type like the first 2 words of that and it populates the rest, which just saves me time because I type it 30 times a day. So then she immediately sends them a DM. She doesn't wait. And she says, hey girl, you might have seen I just commented and liked on your pics. I found you because XYZ, because I'm also 26 weeks pregnant, 6 weeks pregnant, or because I'm also a grad student, or I'm also a vegan, whatever it is. And then she compliments them. She says, you look great. You're super inspiring. Are you a coach too? And I'm sure probably some of you guys already do this or have heard of this technique, but I think that's a really non-threatening way to invite somebody. You're not flat out inviting them with this long novel. You're just saying, are you a coach too? And then when they respond, they're probably going to say, no, what's that? She says something like, oh my God, you'd be a great one. I thought you already were. What she says, and this is exactly her words, I don't know if you've already heard of us, P90X, Insanity, or some of our programs. She just touches on that super briefly. Doesn't say Beachbody. If you want any info, I'm running a free group on Facebook and I can send you the link. No obligation. So I've been using something very similar. I compliment them and I say, oh my God, I thought you were already a coach. And I do say, like, I have this sneak peek. I'd love to send you the playlist. No strings attached, but you might as well check it out. Something like that. And that has been working really well. It's not a ton of steps. I don't beat around the bush forever. I don't wait like a week to ask them if they want to watch the sneak peek. I immediately get them that. Most people, because I've built them up, prior to asking that. By the time I ask them if they want to learn, they're already all complimented and flattered, and they're like, sure, I'd check it out. And then I immediately get them that information. So that has been working really well, I can say firsthand. So one other thing that I thought was important is she talked a lot about getting some third-party, what's the word I'm looking for? A third-party opinion on what you're doing, and basically checking yourself and taking like zooming out and really looking at what you're doing. So the first thing she said is you really want to make sure that within, you can go and kind of do like a gut check on your account and scroll through it and make sure that you're creating curiosity. So of course, never posting the name of the program. We all know that sort of thing, but throwing in enough that people are going to come to you and be like, what's this business you do? Or what's this program you're doing? The second point, I really like this, and it's hit home for me because I totally wear my pajamas all day and never put on makeup. She said she had one of her friends come to her and be like, hey, like, I love your post, but you're always in your pajamas, like in bed and not looking put together. And at first she was kind of like insulted, but then she realized, because her friend was like, would you be taking advice from somebody that was like basically a total slob? Like, would you be taking advice from somebody? Like, no, like Bonnie was already saying she was attracted to like the cute people whose maternity outfits were on point and stuff. So there's something to be said for like finding a good filter that works for you, getting some good lighting, maybe putting on a little bit of makeup when you don't feel like it, buying some cute like TJ Maxx workout clothes that are in flattering colors and posting that kind of stuff because it is a visual platform. And then also checking yourself, are your hashtags confusing people? Because if you're hashtagging maternity wear and then the first 10 pictures are all about your dog, it's going to be super confusing because you need to be posting what drew people into your page in the first place. And that goes back to what I said before about not just posting like willy-nilly random hashtags anymore, definitely making them more relate to that specific post. And then, like I already said, getting a third party to evaluate your content is really helpful. Somebody who's not a Beachbody coach, somebody who will probably never be a Beachbody coach, but just getting them to look and be really honest with you and say like, hey, does this make sense? Does my sneak peek material make sense? You can do this with your whole business, not just Instagram. Because I know we're so saturated with this kind of like jargon and Beachbody world. Sometimes we think we're posting things that are effective and they actually might not make any sense to an outsider. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to talk fast. I think this is my last slide. I tried to condense everything she shared about Instagram stories into basically 3 steps. And hopefully you guys are using these already. And I know she said that, I think it was like out of her 80, or no, she recruited 40 PS coaches in the month of January. And she said 80% of them came to her. I think she said through stories. Was it just Instagram in general or was it stories? I think it was stories, but the point is she's stories. Okay, yeah. So she's recruiting super heavily through Instagram stories because this is where you're kind of really getting people to like want more information and see what it is that you're doing. So step 1, she said, is come up with 3 to 4 main categories that are going to attract people to you. So these I just threw up there were mine. Those are kind of the things that I try to touch on a lot in my stories. And really you don't want to stray too far from that. So you don't want to just be like all over the place and showing everything you do in a day, and you really kind of want to stick to what you know and stick to what you do well and what you know is attracting people to you. So step 2, she's very big on personality. If you watch her stories, like she's super quirky and really kind of capitalizes on that and doesn't try to hide it. So you want to show your personality. You want people to be attracted to your quirkiness or whatever it is that makes you you. But she also says every day you should be showing some element of your business, some element of your workouts. I don't think that means you need to be filming your entire workout because I know I skim through those. Like I don't want to watch somebody's like every single move. And also really this is important, I think, with any posting, just posting for the people you want to attract. So if you want to attract hard workers and people that are going to be no BS and really going to do their power hours and do the grind and all that, then show that this takes hard work. Like show that you're working your business every single day. And yeah, maybe you're doing it from your couch, but it's still a lot of hard work. And I try, if I'm having a late night and I'm working like crazy, I try to document that so people can see that this is not drinking margaritas on the beach. Like it actually takes some grind. And then step 3, I really love, and this is something I'm going to start actually tomorrow for the first time. I'm assuming most of you guys probably run sneak peeks on Facebook or something like a blitz or some sort of sneak peek that way. So she's taking it a step further and running sneak peeks through Instagram stories, which I thought was really smart. So she does this, I think she said either bi-monthly or once a month, and takes a 3-day span where she documents her day as a life, basically, day in the life of a coach, and shows what you do, how it works, like talks, basically she sticks to the vitals, showing the 4 vitals, talking about each one, and also addressing in her actual stories common misconceptions and questions people have. And then she still runs her Facebook sneak peek or blitz. I think she does that like with her team. So basically if somebody watches her Instagram stories, because I'm sure you guys all have like the same stalkers that watch you every day anyway, so they'll see that, and then the idea is at the end of that you can kind of funnel them to the next step, which would be, okay, well, I'm also hosting this live event on Facebook if you want to go more in depth and get, you know, prices on how to start and how we earn money and that sort of thing. But you just entice them with showing that day in the life for 3 days. So I'm starting that tomorrow. I'm pretty confident that's going to work really well, and I'll be doing that every month. So that is everything on Instagram. I feel like I talked forever, but if you guys have any questions on that, let me know. And then we were both going to kind of touch on the third speaker. Melanie, Bonnie, and Kim were kind of the main 3. And Kim mostly talked about customer experience. Both of her presentations were really heavily focused on that. And I just wanted to point out, this is, I think, so important. She and Jamie Fitzpatrick, so they're both coaches, and Jamie was in the top 10 last year. They've popped 30 diamonds in the last year, which is insane to me. And she said 26 of them were customers first, which just goes to show like how much value there is in really running helpful challenge groups and nurturing your customers. Because, I mean, I'm pretty, any of us would be pretty thrilled to have 26 customers turn into diamonds in the next year. So Lauren, I don't know if you want to unmute yourself and we can both kind of tackle this.
Yeah, do you want to start?
Sure. I mean, I can start. I really don't have any like order, but I just kind of threw up these bullet points because they were really the ones that stuck out to me. So their big thing is they teach their customers within their challenge groups to mimic the behavior of coaches. So they're kind of inadvertently, without coming right out and saying what they're doing, they're kind of creating and nurturing future coaches without them even realizing that's what's happening. So by the time that challenge group wraps, their customers have already, without even realizing it, picked up a lot of the characteristics and skills that would make good coaches down the road, which is probably why they all were so successful.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And right along with that, I mean, that's like pairing up success partners in your challenge group. I mean, I know I did that very recently for the first time, and I had someone, one of my customers contact me today to sign up as a coach. And I just started doing that like 2 weeks ago. So success partners, recognition, asking them to kind of like step up as a leader in a way. If you run your groups on Facebook, you could ask them to go live. If there's anybody who like knows anything about like nutrition or fitness, because, you know, sometimes we have those people in there, like you can ask them to like talk about a topic that they know really well, or maybe if they're like a yoga instructor, like lead a little like 30-minute yoga class, like live in the group, like anything like that that gives them that sort of like leadership role. And like it does totally teach them like what it is to be a coach.
Yeah, and also just help them like become resourceful, because I know none of us want our coaches to be those like clingy people that need us to answer every single question. So she says like instilling that in them within a challenge group, like, hey, have you checked the Beachbody blog? Like, do you know that's even a thing? And like making sure that they are aware of all the tools, which I know that's something I need to do more of, because I have so many of my challengers like not even realize that Fixate is a thing, or like, oh, I need new recipes, and they didn't even think to check that because they didn't know. So really just like empowering them to be able to find their own answers from the get-go.
Yeah. Personal development, obviously, like, I mean, it's just as important. We know it's important on your health journey, whether you're a coach or not. And the last thing that she talked about was she sends her new customers this huge welcome email. and it includes a like 35-page wellness guide that they made. That has like basically like troubleshooting anything that they might come across when they're getting started, or if they start getting stuck or whatever. And that's not, oh, you have their guide. I just made my own. It's like, it's not like the things that you're going to find, in Beachbody On Demand, but I actually I just made my own. And literally what I did is I contacted every one of my challengers, both new and like long-term challengers, and I asked them what the hardest part was for them getting started and what the hardest part was like keeping going, like keeping that momentum up. And I told them what I was doing it for. And I basically compiled all of their answers and went to the Beachbody blog and found articles that covered 90% of what they told me they were struggling with perfectly. So I just compiled all of that. So if you are interested, or you're finding like your challengers are having like very specific places where they're getting stuck, like you can create a resource like that. It took me like maybe like an hour and a half to like talk to all of them and then find all of the articles. So it wasn't something that was like crazy time consuming to start putting together.
Yeah, and especially if April already has that one, then you could probably just use that. But yeah, and I did that too, and I sent it out to all my existing challengers, a lot of whom are like on the struggle bus super hard lately with like motivation and all sorts of things, and it covers all of that sort of thing. At least ours, the one we put together, does. So I send it to all my existing people, and it'll be something I share with every new incoming challenger. And that's like you make it once and you have it forever kind of thing. So it's definitely worth it. Yeah, anything else that we didn't mention? Oh, I was going to mention one quick thing I forgot to say about Insta stories that I know Lauren and I both immediately did and have noticed a massive improvement from, is just also, I think I may have already said this, but also thinking about within stories, what kind of stories you enjoy watching. I hate it when somebody talks for like 7 stories in a row. I never watch it. And I love boomerangs, and I love, people's like showing their food and stuff. So post it's just common sense, but I didn't used to do this. Like I was posting these long meandering things of me talking when I don't even watch that. So why would I expect my people to? So I stopped doing that and started doing posting the things in my stories that I know I enjoy watching. And the number of people I have watching has literally almost doubled. So that's definitely working.
People watching all the way through also.
Yeah, way better rates.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I will stop sharing. That's everything we had in a slide. Obviously, if anybody has any questions, if they want to.
I love this information. It was so good. I seriously took so many notes because there's so many things that I realize I'm very guilty of that I used to do all the time, and I've just kind of let one thing go out the window after another. So I know that there was kind of a kick in the butt that I need. So I need to get my crap together, and not just specifically with posting and funneling in, instead of just being like, oh yeah, this is next week, so I should probably talk about it. So I loved those tips. I love the Instagram story tips, because I actually was still doing the hashtags in a comment, like all 30, anything that relates to you. So I also
I was too until very recently, and then I heard from her, and I heard from other people that like that's a no-go anymore, and Instagram will like shadow ban you if they catch you. So
love that.
You got to put it in the actual post. Is that what it is?
Yeah, so like within the caption.
Yeah, you can still put like a bunch of dots and then it down at the bottom, so it's not like glaring, but
yeah, Bonnie does it, and she does very few. She just does like a handful. I do like 6 or 7 per post.
Yeah, Bonnie said like no more than 10.
Yeah, no more than 10, I think is the rule.
Mm-hmm.
And that will probably like all change within the next couple months, but that's how it is for right now.
Yeah.
I was going to say quickly, because I know we both wanted to mention this, and Lauren really mentioned it at the beginning, of just like how amazing it is to get to live events and be there. And I know both of us were like really feeling just kind of like burnt out and struggling and frustrated, like literally up till the day before NLC. And I know that every time we go to a live event, it's just a huge like reset button. You get rejuvenated, you get around better energy, and it just kind of relights that fire. So I would say 100% get to NLC, but obviously Summit's right around the corner. So if you don't already have a ticket, or you do, just like make sure you're at that, because this was kind of just like a mini summit, but I don't think anything compares to summit, just like energy wise. And it's invaluable because like what you learn there and the energy you get and like the boost in your business is going to continue to affect like your rank and your income and your success for like the whole rest of the year, hands down.
Did you guys do anything different to like try to hit 1-star or 2-star to get there, or was that just like consistency? Like, did you have a certain date that you guys picked that you wanted to hit it by to make sure you were there? Or?
Yeah, I mean, there were dates for sure, but at that point, you know, like unless you're building one of your, like a spouse or something, like, which I didn't have anyone to build. So I both had at least one coach that was out of our control, you know. Like dates, I feel like it's good to have them, but also not to be completely married to them, because if it doesn't happen by then, like you don't want the coach who was building to get discouraged and fall off, because I can tell you, like, my coach who hit diamond almost hit diamond like 10 times leading up to that, and every single time it was like pep talking back on, you know, back to doing her like daily vitals. But really just like working with the willing and not trying to spread yourself super thin, working with every single coach on your team. And I'm not saying that to sound like you know, you should be neglecting any coaches, because you shouldn't, but really sticking with that, like, if you're going to walk, I'm going to walk with you. If you're going to run, I'm going to run with you. If you're going to sprint, I'm going to sprint with you. So essentially, like, not every coach on your team deserves the same amount of your time and energy, unless they're all showing you that they are all like in it to win it, working, and they are doing the actual actions. Like, you can't try to drag anyone along. And if you're wasting your time trying to do that, that's time that you could be spending finding someone who's going to like go out there and kick ass.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. I went 2-star because of one of my coaches, and then also I built my boyfriend. So I had a little more control over his, obviously. And that was just really a decision, was just to recruit super heavily, because we all know, like, if you bring on 10 coaches, maybe 3 of them are going to cancel the next month. So I was just always recruiting way more than I needed. And again, I obviously couldn't control my other Diamonds account, and that was on her. I mean, once she hit Diamond, I would say things changed a little, just like having that mentality to hold it for 6 weeks. That's like never a fun 6 weeks, but like necessary to just kind of bear down and like really diligently check your downline, and always, you know, they have to continue to recruit and all that. But no, I don't think there was anything like I flipped a switch and that's why I hit 2-star. I mean, it took me a long time. I'm like a very slow builder with this business, so I'm sure you can do it much faster than I did.
Me too.
Yeah. So I don't think anything changed. It was just a lot of consistency. Of course, if you have a family member or a spouse that you can build to get to, you know, 1-star or 2-star, I would say do it, because that is how the third girl on our team got to NLC, was building her husband's account. But yeah, you can't control anybody else. Like, all you can do is lead from the front, show them they need to be recruiting a lot, show them how to be a successful leader by doing it yourself.
Okay.
Here is my quick question that I feel like our team struggles with is I'm really great at attracting coaches, and then they can teach their coaches how to get to Emerald. But the hardest part is for them to build their own diamonds. And I don't know where our disconnect is. It's just a struggle to kind of dig deep. So I would love to hear kind of what you do. Do you get on the phone with, or Zoom or whatever, with people like farther down in your downline? Like, what are you doing to specifically build leaders?
What'd you say?
I feel like I struggle with that too.
Oh, I've used like a 3-way call for like not my PS, but their coaches, right? So I've used like getting a 3-way call with me as like an incentive for them to build to Emerald. And then once they build to Emerald, basically we get on a call and we talk goals, and I go through, like, even though it's something like we all know, like well, maybe we just take for granted like what diamond actually looks like. But we have I just have these two graphics that I share with them, and it's like the map to diamond and then like a map to a solid diamond, where you have extra coaches and you have extra emeralds. And I basically just like, even though it seems so simple, like walk through that with them. Oh yes, I will. But I walk through that with them and like make sure they really truly understand it, because I think that sometimes we like take for granted the fact that like we know what it is and we're like, it's just 8 coaches and 2 emeralds, it's just 8 coaches and 2 emeralds, but then there's still so many coaches like down the like trickle of the downline who are like wait, I don't understand, I don't even know what diamond is, so that's something I've done before. Also, like if any of my coaches are building and they have coaches who are building, like I do offer, my time and everything. Again, like I do feel that like anybody who is building and who is running, whether it's my PS coach or one of their coaches, like they do deserve more time and energy. So I do offer like my assistance. I know we use like chat threads and stuff too. My team hates them. Emmy's team, they work like really well for. My team hates them and like mutes them. So it might work for your team. It doesn't work for mine.
Yeah, it depends on the team for sure.
Success partners also are super helpful. Like we try to link our new coaches up with success partners almost immediately. Mm-hmm. And I know something like when I first started, I didn't have like a real success partner for at least a year and a half into being a coach. Like I like tried to have success partners and they were never anyone that it like clicked with. And it wasn't really until Emmy and I decided to partner up and we basically like combined our team pages and our Google Drives and all of our resources, because we have very different skills and like things that we are good at. And that was when I would say like things really like took off for our team, because then they didn't just have one of us as a resource, they had both of us. And then they also all had each other and they were all like linking up with each other, trying to plan things. So really just like, I would say that was when I felt the biggest shift in like our team culture and everyone's like drive and motivation really shifted.
Actually, yeah, 100%. I like forget that we weren't ever joined up, so it just seems like we always have been. But yes, that was a massive shift. And I would say like, no, I do that too. I mean, I kind of forget certain coaches I work with really closely who aren't even my PS coaches, and I kind of forget that they aren't, because I do treat everybody about the same. Like actually right before this call, I just had like an hour talk with one of my coaches. But she's killing it. So it doesn't matter to me that she's not my PS coach. She's going to help my PS coach hit 1 star. So it doesn't matter. So yeah, I would say digging deep. I definitely do group calls. Yeah, I mean, we do combine a lot of team resources and training, and like we have like a new coach broadcast in our team page every month. So everybody, however far down in our downlines, can watch that. So maybe they're not getting a GSR call from their immediate upline, they can come watch ours. So we definitely do try to like go deep within our downline with that sort of thing.
It's usually like 35 to 45 minutes.
It's basically a GSR.
Yeah, one of us just goes live and like goes through everything they would get in GSR, which is also, I mean, it's also helpful because then if you're recruiting a lot of coaches, like sometimes it is very difficult to get on the phone with all of them, and you don't want them to lose that like motivation, that like fire they have when they first sign up. You don't want them to lose that because like it was hard for your schedules to work out for the first couple days. So we record a new one like within the first couple days of every month, and then we just tag everyone, and our entire downline uses it.
Wait, so you have one for each month and then one each Monday, or that's the one you do?
No, just one a month.
One each month.
I was like,
no, just one a month.
No.
Okay.
It takes forever.
Yeah, and it's really the same info every month. It's basically a GSR call. It just saves us from having like, I know I hate getting on the phone. So like for me to set up a GSR with every new coach, like there might be like a week before our schedules mesh up because my schedule is crazy. So yeah, this just kind of takes the place of a GSR. They're immediately tagged in that. They watch it. We ask them to respond in the comments so that they're actually going through and answering the questions like they would on a call. And then like as a reward for actually doing that, then I'll get on the phone with them. But I won't get on the phone with them personally until they've done that, because to me, like that's the bare minimum. If you can't even show up and like watch a recorded call, I'm not going to waste an hour on the phone with you. So.
Like that. Okay, cool. So do you guys have a group together then? Your team together, and then one of you does that a month, so you're basically every other month?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's cool. Love that.
Yeah, we got that idea at Summit because I can't remember who it was, but they were like saying how they ran their teams together and that they were in similar places, and one of their strengths kind of complemented the other one's weakness and vice versa. So we realized that this time, like almost a year ago, I guess. And so now we like joke that we're just like hashtag team 2 moms and do everything together.
And I think like sometimes like people in our downline, like we're both so present in that group, and like there are people deep in our downline who I don't even think like understand, like deep in Emmy's downline, who message me like don't even understand, like I'm not even anywhere related to them. Like it's just all the time. It's just they come to either one of us.
Yeah, we both help, and I am always referring people to Lauren. Like I'm terrible at time management, but you should go talk to Lauren about that. So that might partly be my fault because I send them to you.
When I get stuff like that too, I'm like, that's a really great question. You know what you should do is post that in the team page and tag them. She's awesome at it, so that you're filtering it and not just having to live in your messenger. Anytime a question that's commonly asked, I'm like, that's an awesome idea. Post to my team page, tag me. I'll answer there because I know I have a ton of other new coaches.
That's super smart, so everyone sees it.
Yeah.
Protect your time because. Bye, Justin. See you. Because
bye.
When I was, a 100% full-time coach, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I've sent, in fact, and I do real estate full-time too. So it's like seriously such a battle with full-time with that, mom life, this, and it's really hard because I can't live up to those standards I was when I was doing it full-time, kind of devoting 12 hours a day to coaching, but I still want to be a great leader. So I know my quantity is going to be way low. Like I'm not recruiting the 10 to 15 coaches I used to. I'm really focusing on 3 to 5 quality because that's all I can do. And so, but I remember that when I was go, I feel like so much of my time was answering coaches' messages, and because it was at that time where that was my sole, like I was diving into it, hours and hours a day were messages from people. So I was like, finally, like have to find a system to protect, because even if you guys aren't at that level now with your teams, just know you will be. And I don't want you to wait until it's too late to protect your time, because maybe you only have, 2, maybe you only have 5, whatever it is. But if they're, constantly coming to you, it's just going to duplicate. So you have to have a system now.
I mean, we definitely enforce and especially now after NLC, like we got real strict about this in our team page, but we enforce you need to have checked Google, our team drive, YouTube, and asked in the team page. And if you still can't find an answer, then you come to us.
Yeah, we went live about that, and we're like, we're not going to continue to answer questions because the only way we're answering these is Googling them, and you could be doing that yourself. And I do that too, April. If somebody asks me something, I'm like, how about post that in the team page? You'll get more responses and somebody else will learn, and I won't waste my time answering it too.
To make it sound like, because it makes us sound like when you talk like that, it makes you like, oh gosh, you don't have time for people. So I know. To sugarcoat it with, I would love to answer every single question individually and get to know everybody, but I also have to protect my family time, So why I'm doing this is because I want to teach you to do the same thing for your downline, for you to protect your family time. So when you spin it like that, people don't look at you like you're a monster or mean.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad you know that. So, all right. Well, we're all fading fast. We got to get up early. I appreciate you girls so much hopping on. I look forward to seeing the things that you're planning on sharing with us. We would love to, anytime you're looking to team up for, kind of a joint team-wide coach blitz or, you know, something like that. We could always try something different and just kind of see.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, just kind of get some different personalities and switch it up a little. So
That'd be awesome.
Yep. So,
Yeah. Well, we'll have to hash out those details.
Yeah.
You're definitely on board.
All right, cool guys. Well, have a great night. Thank you so much. You both did
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
No problem.
Bye, guys.
Good night.